Yes, the power hour is dawning indeed. And just on your monetary policy point, Arabile, who doesn't want a cut? Come on. But anyway, I've got a tax specialist with me here, Keith Engel. He's from SABC, and he's going to give us his perspective on what we can expect from a tax revenue perspective. Many of your professional colleagues are saying that it's going to be very difficult for the finance minister to get tax revenue. Your thoughts?
Yes, no, I think that's the real issue. He can try to raise the rates, but then the revenue will collapse. So what he found when he raised the rates to 45% under the prior period, that the revenue didn't come. So you're really at the edge of the Laffer curve when it comes to personal income tax. There's also only so much money you can get out of the economy. So if you have a real tax increase, you're going to kill the growth. So there really isn't much you can do in the way of tax increases, which is a real problem for government, because on the one hand they need the money, on the other hand they're going to kill the growth. I think what most people are hoping for is nothing.
What about innovation? Surely there needs to be some innovative way to raise funds.
Yeah, if you're going to try to raise money, the best way is to try to get what you're not taxing, and that's going to come through the revenue service. And that's really where all the pressure is there. So maybe we'll get lucky and we'll have a commissioner announcement today, but I don't think so. I think that's 2-3 weeks away.
Yeah, no, that does sound rather premature. So ultimately, what we need in the South African economy are injectors for growth.
Yeah, we need growth at this point. You can't get more out of what you're getting. You could take a little here. I think excise taxes, there's always a little temptation, maybe that they don't give adjustments for inflation. But you really need to get growth to get this economy going, and that's why Cyril Ramaphosa keeps talking about that. He seems to like tax holidays. Maybe there'll be something there, but I think there's a lot of reluctance even on that side. So you'll see some small things that will sound like big things. But the problem is you can't tax your way to growth. Growth has got to come from other sectors, and that's faith in the economy and also some deregulation. That's really what we need. Tax, not going to make much of a difference at this point.
South Africa is a very unique country, a unique economy, but are there any other economies across the world that have experienced similar hardships to the ones that our economy experiences, where perhaps we can draw lessons from about how they've tried to turn their economies around?
Yeah. Well, look, I think the one that's closest comparable is Brazil. And the rest of the world is actually having to learn more from us, because the divide between the rich and the poor is growing more elsewhere than it's closing here. So unfortunately, we might be a leader in this respect. But I'm not sure if there's a lesson we can draw in that way. I think the real lessons we have to ask ourselves is, one, foreign investment, blessing or curse, that's always in the background. Two, we have a lot of high net worth individuals out there who are outside the system. We have a lot of the informal economy outside the system. And unfortunately, getting a lot of that, maybe you can do it legislatively, but you really have to have operational implementation. And unfortunately, that's a lot less exciting, but that's really where the action has to happen.
Of course, tax collection is very important. Are you confident that going forward with new leadership at SARS and general better capacity at SARS, that we can do a better job in terms of collecting revenue?
Well, I think it's critical that we have better leadership, and I know that they're trying very hard. They've done a lot of interviews. You can say who you like and who you don't, but clearly the people that they're looking at are far more qualified. So there's definitely more qualification that's there. So part of it is getting a better, rearranging the revenue service, and there are a lot of things you can do to do that. They can look for international examples, and frankly, they know it here. They know it needs to be done. But it's beyond that. I think the other problem is you need to restore the faith in government. And that restoration is beyond SARS. It isn't just we like SARS, do we like what government is doing in general? And that restoration, unfortunately, is the president's job, and that doesn't happen quickly. That happens slowly. Yeah.
Thanks very much, Keith. That was Keith Engel. He's from SABC, just giving us his perspective on tax. Now, I didn't hear my colleague very well. Are we crossing to studio, or are we going to an ad break? Okay, all right. At the top of the hour, I'll be back with more budget just before the minister speaks, but it's back to studio for now.